More information time. Here we go.
Time to go with Gen.
Reading you guys more information here for the almost near the finale. Gen, fighting style, Chinese martial arts, swing koi, likes meat buns, writing in Chinese poems,
Dislikes crowds. I can agree with that.
Chinese medicine. Background. Gen is an elderly assassin who has mastered both the Soi and Ki styles of Chinese martial arts, which use bare-handed attacks to ruthlessly dispatch targets. Gen is feared in Hong Kong underworld as Gen the Invincible, the man with 100 bloody battles. Most people don't know that Gen is terminally ill, and the reason he throws himself so completely into his fights is because he wants to end his life in a blaze of glory. Kind of like a certain anime guy, but
he does get his wish.
This Subterranean's only joy in life is these death matches against challenging opponents, like Akuma. You'll meet him later. Sick though he may be, he will never hesitate to enter the field of battle. Gen considers Akuma his only true rival because of Akuma's similarly deadly martial arts techniques. The greatest joy in Gen's lifetime was his battle against Akuma. He enjoyed himself so much that he couldn't bring himself to land the killing blow. He wanted to fight Akuma again another day. His younger years? Gen was a good friend and teacher to Chung Li's missing father, Durai, and feels a sort of paternal protectiveness for her. Some of the techniques taught to Chung Li's father by Gen have been passed down to her as well. Fighting style. Gen mastered countless martial arts over the years, but eventually developed his own two distinct fighting styles, called So and Ki. Once Gen learned of his fatal disease, his killer instinct got even sharper. His death wish makes him an incredibly deadly opponent compared to most Street Fighters, because he has nothing to lose. Holy fuck, Gen. Ken. Where the fuck are the rest of the fighters?
I don't know. Ken Masters.
You see here, you see his updated art, background. Ken Masters is the heir to the Masters family fortune and the reigning champion of the All-American Martial Arts Tournament. He's also Ryu's brother in training and oldest rival. Ken wears a red dogi to complement Ryu's white one and shares his rival's goal of becoming the greatest martial artist in the world. Ken and Ryu both studied under the same master, Gokhan, from a very young age. As youths, they witnessed the deadly battle between Akuma and Gokhan, in which Gokhan was almost killed and entered a martial arts-induced coma. After the shocking conclusion to their formal training, the two friends parted ways with the same goal of achieving global fame as martial artists. Ken went to America, planning to focus entirely on training, but instead he met Eliza, fell in love. Unfortunately, he would... Eventually he would marry her. Even though Ken achieved the title King of American Fighters, he still ached to challenge his rival. In order to clear his head and rediscover his own path, Ken set on a journey in which he was able to understand what fighting means to him. He settled back into training and concentrated on rematch with Ryu, who had already defeated Sagat, the Emperor of Muay Thai. Seeing his rival advance so far in his career, Ken flew to Japan with the intention of challenging him to a match. When Ken found Ryu, it seemed he had lost sight of his own path, but Ken was able to knock some sense into him again. Ryu and Ken promised to face off in their ultimate match to find out who was the better fighter, but Ken made a difficult decision to retire for the sake of his wife and their child that would soon arrive. But for a true Street Fighter, the calling of the ring is too strong, and Ken eventually returned to the competitive scene. Along the way, he accidentally gained a student named Sean, who forced his way into apprenticeship after seeing him fight. Ken feels a bit overwhelmed by his diehard fan-turned-student and hopes to find some way to pawn him off on Ryu instead. Ken and Eliza have a young son named Mel who trains alongside Sean. Eliza is a younger sister of Guile's wife, Julia, making Ken and Guile brothers-in-law. Fighting style. While Ken's core fighting techniques are similar to Ryu's, each fighter is influenced by their current training methods and overall personalities, which creates subtle differences between them. While Ryu specializes in using projectiles, Ken has taken the Shoryuken into uncharted territory, modifying it into the Dragon Punch, Shoryupa, and Shinryuken attacks. His improved Shoryuken techniques, mixed with other agile attacks, make him a very strong opponent.
You'll see that in Street Fighter 2.
I
When we
cannot
get to
wait to
it.
play those fucking games. If Joe will fucking allow me, if he fucking pawns me these fucking weird games he wants me to play.
No, you can play your Street Fighter first.
Here we are.
Ryu.
Ryu is a prideful, aloof master martial artist whose only goal in life is to walk the path of a true warrior. He travels in the world in his white dogi, red headband, and bare feet, searching for new challengers, new fighting techniques, and new knowledge to help him reach his full potential. His dogged pursuit of his goal inspires many younger fighters, including Sakura,
I believe Alex.
and many more. For many years, Ryu trained alongside his best friend and rival Ken under the Atsuken master Gokhan. Their training was cut short when Gokhan was murdered by his own brother Akuma. It later turns out Gokhan was just in a martial arts-induced coma. Ryu's time with Gokhan helped him learn to turn his ki into energy blasts, but these techniques came with a great risk. When the desire to defeat one's opponent reaches its peak, this desire can feed a physical force known as the Satsui no Hado, or killing intent, or the killing intent. Satsui no Hado is an inherited part of the Ansatsuken. So Ryu, like any other fighter who studies the art, has the potential to fall to this dark power. Ryu continually struggles against the darker elements of his art. Ryu continued training after the death of Gokhan, and eventually managed to defeat Sagat, the Emperor of Muay Thai, in the first Street Fighter tournament. His final Shoryuken left a permanent scar on the chest and mind of Sagat, who became obsessed with the ideal of a rematch. After winning the tournament, Ryu realized he had a long way to go, and continued to travel the world in search of new techniques. It was during this period of wandering that he gained an unwanted disciple of sorts. The high school student turned Street Fighter Sakura. It was after the first tournament that M. Bison gained interest in Ryu. M. Bison marked Ryu for not only his incredible skill, but also the fact that Satsui no Hado lay dormant within him. This would make him a perfect vessel for M. Bison's spirit, should he need a replacement body.
Yeah.
This led the two of them to confrontation, in which Ryu was almost consumed by the power of the Satsui no Hado. But he managed to regain his composure by focusing on his bond with Ken and his other friends, realizing what would happen if he let out the beast within him. Ryu's confrontation with Shadaloo almost led to a rematch with Sagat, who had joined Shadaloo as one of M. Bison's 4 bosses. Ryu emerged victorious once again, but this time Sagat had overcome his thirst for revenge. Thirst for revenge. And the two fighters now have a mutual respect for each other's skill. Ryu continues to street fight his way around the world and returns to Suzaku Palace in Japan once every year to visit his master's grave. At least he did until his master Gokhan returned. Ryu now occasionally practices with his master, who feels Ryu has no more to learn from him. His iconic red headband was a gift from Ken, who had previously worn it as a hair tie. Ryu does eventually quell the Satsui no Hado, but never stops training.
What that means is he had basically gotten rid of it from his body.
Sagat has been known as the Emperor of Muay Thai, the Invincible Tiger, and one of the 4 bosses of Shadaloo. He's a national hero in his native Thailand and was still only a teenager when he defeated the reigning king of Muay Thai. The power of his kick is said to be peerless. In the final match of the Street Fighter tournament, which we already saw, Sagat was defeated by Ryu's powerful cheap shot Shoryuken. This was his first ever loss, and it left a massive wound across his chest. And a deep hatred of Ryu within his soul, Sagat redoubled his training efforts, honing his body and mind with the singular goal of defeating Ryu in a rematch. Around the time, he was also accepted a position as one of M. Bison's 4 Shadaloo bosses, hoping the crime organization's resources would bring him closer to a match with Ryu. Sagat wears an eye patch after losing his right eye in a match with Go Hibiki, who died during the fight. Go's death at Sagat's hand led Go's son, Dan Hibiki, down a path of revenge, hoping to meet and defeat Sagat. Sagat also trained fellow Muay Thai fighter Adon, but Adon later rejected him as his master after seeing him lose to Ryu. After the first tournament, hatred of Ryu was Sagat's only motivation, but he eventually realized that the potential for the strength based from hatred is very limited in fact. Before he knew it, he found himself admiring Ryu's strength. When he had the opportunity to defeat Ryu, when he consumed by the Setsui no Edo, he chose instead to knock Ryu back into his senses. Fighting style.
Yeah.
Sagat uses tail, body, and long reach to gain an advantage over his opponents, along with his mastery of Muay Thai. Over the course of his intense, isolated training, Sagat carefully rebuilt his fighting style, adding several powerful moves to his arsenal of attacks. Among these signature moves are the Shoryuken-style Tiger Uppercut and the Tiger Shot projectile blast, created from the rage of his burning fists. And
That's it.
And to read Ryu's style before I end this video, so I know I've skipped that. Ryu's Atsuken training gave him a deep understanding of his own combat energy. This has allowed him to master the Doken, Shoryuken, and Tatsumi Sekbuken maneuvers. After he thought Gokhan was dead, Ryu strengthened his body and spirit to create even more powerful Doken attack. His sense of physical combat differs slightly from Ken's, though the root of their power is the same. The secret of Ryu's strength comes from his honest training and unclouded understanding of the martial arts. There we fucking go. All the left stuff from Street Fighter 1, and I will do it with every single other. So, see you guys in the finale.